The 12-week journey, number 8. The heart of your purpose. We have already discovered that we were brought forth for a reason, each and every one of us. Yah designed man in particular according to his own image and likeness, per Genesis 1 verse 26. But we were not to resemble the Father merely in a physical sense, for, as the emissary Peter aptly put it,
"As he who called you is pure, you also be pure in all your conduct, since it is written, you shall be pure, for I am pure."
1 Peter 1 verses 15 to 16. We are to be like the Father in essence, being composed of qualities that in sum total equal exactly what he is. And when we consider Yah and pinpoint his foundational intrinsic essence, we learn that he is love. The same can be said of his set-apart spirit and of his only begotten, Yahushua. In fact, 1 John 4 verse 8 tells us that
Elohim is love.
When scientists look at the structure of things in nature and examine what elements they are comprised of, they see that many materials such as minerals, cellulose fibers, and chemical substances are used to form rocks, trees, water, etc. But Yah, since he is spirit, cannot be conceived of in scientific terms as though the material things in nature constitute his being. No, Yah is love. Simple and plain. That is the main ingredient that makes him who he is, and it is the ingredient that is to form our truer selves. Love, it must be stated, infuses everything that Elohim does and says. Every action put forth by the Father, every word spoken by Yeshua, was and is done in love. And Yeshua was sent to show us how to emulate that love. It is a love that will be the heart of your true purpose once you have fully received and applied Yeshua's lessons to your life. That love requires that we destroy self-centeredness and have our pursuits be void of self-interest. In Luke 6 verse 27, Yeshua goes so far as to tell us to love our enemies. He says that we are to do good to those who hate us and offer prayers for those who abuse us. Now, while it is important to show love even to our enemies, the Master taught that showing love to a certain class of people is of greater importance. That class of people is made up of our fellow servants. Following the Passover supper and the washing of feet, Yeshua instructed his disciples, saying,
"A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also are to love one another. By this all people will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another."
John 13, verses 34 to 35. You see, it isn't what you preach on the streets, yelling at the top of your lungs to showcase what you know, that serves as your greatest witness. It isn't the doctrine you profess with your mouth or hold in your heart that convinces the world of whom you serve. That great witness comes in the form of our expressed love for one another. By the love the disciples had for one another, people, Yeshua said, would know whose disciples they were. Yah desires that we show love chiefly to fellow servants, those striving for righteousness by adhering to Torah while exhibiting a deep faith in Yeshua. It is in loving our fellow servants, as the disciples were commanded to do, that we will be known as disciples and followers of the Master. And it will be only those lowly servants who will fill the kingdom in the end.
"I will remove from your midst your proud, exultant ones, and you shall no longer be haughty in my pure mountain. But I will leave in your midst a people humble and lowly. They shall seek refuge in the name of Yah, those who are left in Israel. They shall do no injustice and speak no lies, nor shall there be found in their mouth a deceitful tongue."
Zephaniah 3, verses 11 to 13. In demonstrating this important love one to another, we must in essence forge relationships with fellow servants, and those relationships will not be forged overnight. They must be cultivated like a field in order to produce fruits of righteousness. When Yah leads you to other servants, even if it be a small nucleus of souls or just one individual, seek to demonstrate Yeshua's love to them. It may even be a long-distance relationship, or one that is maintained solely by mail, but this does not change the commission to show forth your love. And this exercise of forging relationships with fellow servants will bring its series of frustrations, heartache, obstacles, and testing, as you will not be dealing with perfect individuals. Embodied in our very covenant law are two great commandments on which the entire Torah and the writings of the prophets hang. And those two great commandments involve love. In Matthew 22 verses 37 to 40, Yeshua says that loving Yah with all your heart, soul, and mind is the first of these great commandments, as seen in Deuteronomy 6 verse 5. The second great commandment, that you love your neighbor as yourself, is taken from Leviticus 19 verse 18. The first 4 covenant laws of Exodus 20 concern our relationship with Yah. The other 6 concern our relationship with our neighbor. At the heart of those relationships is love. And love can only grow in a relationship with time. Time is the key factor, and we're not talking about time that simply passes, but time that is spent. If you say you've known someone for 3 years, yet in that span of time you only interacted for a total of 3 months, you have not truly known that person for 3 years. Quality time spent with people is the surest way of demonstrating love and forging strong relationships. We must make time for people, to speak with them, or sit silently in their company, rather than letting time pass without interacting at all. Both you and your fellow servant will benefit from love being expressed by spending time together, and it will be a witness to the world.
Week 8.
When faced with death, people generally do not desire to surround themselves with their awards, diplomas, degrees, or other accolades. They do not generally desire to be surrounded by the many gifts they were given in life. They only want to be surrounded by people with whom they have forged important relationships. But that desire and its fulfillment should not come merely at the end of life, but entirely through it. Yah is not impressed with how much money you earn in life, or what level of education you achieved. The size of your house will never get him to look up to you because of its sheer grandness, or down on you due to it being tiny or shabby. What Yah does care about is whether or not you are demonstrating his love in this earth as you go about fulfilling your true purpose. And be reminded, not only are we to express love to our fellow servants, but also to our enemies, to those who hate us, and even to strangers, for we will be judged according to this love, or our lack of it. This is highlighted wonderfully in Matthew 25 verses 31 to 46, which I urge you to read. Over the next 5 weeks, I'm asking you to continue this journey with me. Not a journey to figure out a career path or how to busy yourself and fill your life with meaningless activities. In fact, we'll be seeking to clear out the clutter and pare things down so you can focus on the most important aspect of your life, what it is Yah has truly called you to do in service to him. Remember that our purpose and our plans must derive from Yah. The 12-week journey will involve listening to this message 1 week at a time while applying its principles to your life. The 12th part should not be binged in one go, otherwise it defeats the purpose of the journey. If you have already viewed the series 1 week at a time, then feel free to binge in another viewing.
Things to do over the course of the next week.
First, listen to this message several times and review its various points.
Keep this in mind.
Expressing Yah's love in this earth selflessly must be at the heart of my purpose.
Reflect on this verse of the week.
Little children, let us not love in word or talk, but in deed and in truth.
1 John 3, verse 18.
Ask yourself this question.
Will cultivating meaningful relationships be put off until I am faced with death, or will I demonstrate that I am a disciple of Yahushua by showing love to my fellow servants now?